Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Fletcher Nelson. I teach 3rd grade in Minnesota, and I saw a teacher tag video that Kyle Cohen had put out, and I thought I'd jump on and answer the questions he did. So there's 8 questions, just kind of talking about teaching during the pandemic and my experience, since every school district around the nation and I guess the world is so different. But especially here in the United States, I know it's kind of a lot of state by state, and within states it seems to be county by county or school by school. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you what my experience has been like so far. So here we go. The first question is, what is your current teaching context? Is it in person, hybrid, or remote? My school district is currently in person for elementaries, and since I teach 3rd grade, we have been in person. We started late because of construction, so our first day of school with kids was September 17th. So we haven't even been in school for a month yet, but the elementary has been in person. The kids are required to wear masks. We wear masks. However, our middle school and our high school have been hybrid. So it is different. We in Minnesota are going by each county, their numbers. It's like their infection rate divided by the 10 or per 10,000 population or something like that. So you kind of get a score, and if ours goes over 20, then elementary would move to hybrid, but we've been around a 12 to a 13 most of the time, and it needs to be under a 10 for everyone to be in person. So we've been pretty close to that all in person mark, but not quite. I'm hoping we at least stay under 20, because I would prefer to just stay in person like we have been and not have to move to hybrid. So yeah, elementary wise, I have been in person for the last like three to 4 weeks then. All right, sorry, I had to read the questions off my phone. The next question, have things changed since the start of the school year? Are they expected to shift? What does that process look like? So like I just said, for us, it has not changed yet at the elementary level. We've been in person the entire time, but they could change. Every Thursday, those numbers are updated for the county, and if we were to bump up, like I said, above the 20, then we would have to move to hybrid. If we move to a different model, parents will have, I think, a week's notice. That way they're not just like, it's thrown at them, and they are gonna have to switch to a hybrid model the next day. So like I said, those numbers come out on Thursdays. So I think then that whole next week we would still be in person, and then that following week we would start the hybrid model. And students do already know their hybrid assignment, and it's the same as all their siblings. So they do know, okay, I'm either gonna be at school on Mondays and Wednesdays, or I'll be on school on Tuesdays and Thursdays if we do have to move into that model. So hopefully parents have kind of thought about that and made arrangements in case we do have to go. But like I said, I'm hoping we don't. Another scenario that could happen would be within cases within the school. I know the other elementary in town, so part of our district, just other elementary, they had to move to distance learning just because they were short on staff. So that's another scenario that could happen. Moving to full distance learning if we don't have enough subs or staff or whatever. So yeah, it's crazy, but they could change at any time. There's one of those things you just kind of keep hoping for the best. All right, question number 3. What is something that you have come to enjoy about your current teaching context? I guess I forgot to mention this at the beginning with the first question. Student or parents could choose to do a full distance learning. They could opt their kid for that, and they can choose to send them back. Our superintendent had kind of preferred for it to be at like trimester breaks, like commit to that first trimester, and then after that trimester, if you want to send them back, they can also pull their child out at any time as well. I don't have to do with any of the distance learning. There's one dedicated teacher per grade. So if they were, let's say as one of my students decided they wanted to do distance learning, they would no longer be in my class. They would be pulled out of my class and into that full distance learning class. And if they get some back, they no longer with their distance learning teacher, they'd be with a classroom teacher, in-person teacher. So anyways, throwing that back in. But because of that, I have the smallest class I've had in years. I have 18 students, just because, you know, there's those families that have chose to do the distance learning. So that's one thing I have really, really, really enjoyed, is having a smaller class size. Last year I had 25 students, so just having 7 less, I mean, that's like a guided reading group less, so more than that. So it's just been nice to be able to like work with the students more individually or in even smaller groups, and just getting to know them, and just space and just everything. It's been great. Yeah, something like that, smaller class size. All right, the next question. What are some of the greatest challenges you are currently facing when thinking about your current teaching context? For me, that's the fact of like group work. Now, with our guidelines, if we're in person, students do have to wear masks. Like I said, I have to wear a mask anytime we're in the building. But within our classroom, we are not expected to have to socially distance them, just because if you're a teacher, you know it's impossible to keep the kids 6 feet away if you have a full class in person. So if we move to hybrid, students will have to stay 6 feet apart while to socially distance. That's more doable when you only have 9 kids. So they don't have to necessarily be socially distanced in here. Like I have tables and there can be multiple people at a table. But the thing that comes into it is just like group work and sharing materials. Like we can do that stuff, but it's like they have to wash or sanitize their hands before and after, which I understand, which is fine. But that's just been something that's difficult to think about because I love doing like STEM challenges and group work and partner reading, and some of that just we haven't been able to do just because obviously COVID restrictions in general. And a lot of it's just like, okay, if we're gonna do a STEM challenge, wash our hands before, boom, 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 like, which isn't that difficult, we've done them. But that's just one thing, it's just another thing to think about because we already have so many things on our plates and so many decisions we make in a day. So just trying to keep track of all that, like when do we need to wash and sanitize has been, I don't know, it's taking some getting used to, that's for sure. All right, if you had a magic wand and could zap back to pre-pandemic times, what would your perfect day of teaching look like? That's a good question. No masks, obviously, because we wouldn't need them. That'd be awesome. It would be a lot of group work, collaboration. We would get outside with the other classes, because right now we have our class we're outside at recess with, and they don't get to see their friends in the other 2 classes. So we would do something as a whole grade level. I'd have it as we'd make sure we throw on a school celebration, like a pep fest, perk party type thing. We call them perk parties. It's a positive event for respectful kids, perk party. We had to do that virtually, so we'd have one of those. Yeah, I don't know. I just would do it social as possible and bring in all the treats, because everything has to be prepackaged and this and that. So I don't know. I'm not even thinking academics wise what I would teach. I'm just thinking, fly, get away. I'm just thinking like the social interactions they haven't been able to do because of COVID, and I would just incorporate all that stuff, like all the fun stuff. What changes do you see that you hope to see in education system as a result of this pandemic? All right, this is the last question, and as much as it has sucked, like it's just been constantly worrying about what's going to happen next. Will we be in school in a month from now? Will we be hybrid? And that's all just exhausting and has stunk. But there's been some things that I have really liked. One of them, last year our state testing got canceled. As of now, they're saying we're gonna have to do it this year still, even though some schools more towards like the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul are full distance learning. So I don't get how that would work in the spring, but anyways, or why that would be a good choice regardless. So I'm hoping that gets canceled. That was one good thing, is that it got canceled last spring. I also like that we have a lot more recess time, because once the kids are outside, they can take off their masks. So we have scheduled playground time and we get outside all the time, and just, I think kids need that. Like I have read multiple books about what schooling looks like in like Finland, and they take breaks like every 45 minutes. So I think it's been a really positive thing for students to get more fresh air and more time outside. I also think that it's been like just the focus on social emotional health of the students after they came back and hadn't been in school for 6 months, focusing on like the relationships and them getting to interact with their peers, and just ways of coping with stress, and just that focus on mental health has been another huge positive of COVID, because I think a lot of times we were just kind of pushed to get through all the academics for state testing and all this stuff. Not necessarily at my school, I'd say. I feel like we've always been able to focus on that, but I feel like just as a whole, I feel like that's been a good, can't think of the word, but anyways, it's been a positive thing that's come from COVID. So other than that, I mean, those are the things that I hope that kind of stay. More recess time, more focus on social, emotional, and mental health for students. And smaller class sizes, yep, let's keep those too. So those 3 things have been great. All right, that is all the questions. So if you wanna partake and let me know what you're doing for like what your current assignment looks like and answer all these questions. They will be in the description. You can tell me your answers in the comments, or you can make your own video. Make sure you tag Kyle Cohen, which I will tag here, and use his hashtag, which I forgot, but you'll see it in this video and in the description. So thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear your answers from this. So thanks, Kyle, for starting this. See y'all next time.